We're in Matthew chapter 26. Matthew 26. We'll begin in verse 69. Before we start walking through that story, I'll tell you the story. I grew up here in Michigan. This is where I grew up. This is my home. I was born in Corpus Christi, Texas. Born down in the Gulf of Mexico. We moved here pretty quick in our life. Me, my brother Tony, my mama. And I grew up with elementary school here in the city, and I made a friend. Now, I was a real awkward little kid. Didn't have a lot of friends, but I made a cool friend. And we were both not popular. We were both awkward. We were both kind of nerds. But we were friends. We got along. We played. I go to school. I'd see him like, "What's up, buddy?" We play like little kids do. Life was awesome. But then I moved away. My mom married a guy, left the city for a few years. That thing ended. Guess what? We came back to the city. I go to school. It's 6th grade when I come back. And a lot changes from 4th grade to 6th grade, right? The kids get meaner. Like elementary school bullying, it's just like they call you names. Middle school bullying, well, they can beat you up now. And their fists are strong. Like my daughter is almost 9. And I don't tell this, but I want her to know how to defend herself, so I always let her punch me in the face. I'm going to show me how to punch. She punched me for a long time. She was a little girl. It was cute. Well, now she's gotten a little stronger, a little taller. So now if I look at she'll hit me, it'll hurt. And she's so cute. I'm like, Lena. I'm a tank, but this is still my face. You can't punch it. Well, we're in 6th grade. I come back, and guess what? My first day at school, I come in, and there's my old buddy. From back in the day, my old buddy. And I'm a little less awkward, a little less nerdy. He's gotten worse with age. And the kids, I can see right away, he is the low guy on the totem pole. I can see pretty quickly, this kid is brutalized by the other kids at school. And I saw him, and he saw me, and there was that like I sat in my seat, there was a view between us of knowing. I know you know me. We used to be friends. How great he had a look of joy. Like, my old buddy's back. I looked around like, oh no, I'm a new kid in this school. I've already been in like 4 schools in my life. I know how it goes. You gotta fight your way to show you're cool. If I'm with this kid, my fight's already lost. During lunch, he came to my table, sit with me. And in front of my whole table, tables around us, I denied knowing him. I don't know you. Who's this guy? And he went and sat by himself. The kids were brutal to him. I didn't pick on him. But I never talked to him ever again. Now, on that day, I failed as a friend. Fair? I was a horrible friend. I also failed as a person. I was a coward. I was selfish. I was watching my own skin. Now, we don't like thinking about times in our life when we fail, where we literally fumble the ball and blow it. But it happens. And in Matthew 26, we find Peter dropping the ball. Now, Peter is the leader of the disciples. Peter is he's very vocal, he's very loud, he has a lot of leadership qualities. Peter is always the guy Jesus gives responsibility to. He's like Jesus, like lieutenant, he's number 1 in charge. Peter is given the keys to the kingdom. Peter is told he's the rock on which the church will be built. All these things happen. Like Peter and Jesus are boys. Okay? Peter is old. He's seen as bold and faithful and all these things. But at the end of the story, Peter's going to fall farther than anybody else. Here's how it plays. Now, Peter was sitting outside in the courtyard. So there's a trial happening in the courtyard of the high priest. And Peter follows from afar and gets into the party. But he's hanging by the servants. He comes in, but he's hanging by the servant people. And he's trying to watch. He wants to know what happens. So he's there, but he's not too close. He wants to see what happens to his master Christ. And he's come this far, but he's still hanging in the shadows. He's nervous. And a servant girl came up to him and said, I know you. You were also the Galilean. You also were with Jesus the Galilean. She's like, I know you. You're one of his 12. You're one of his boys. And he looks around, and there's people everywhere. Okay? And he's like, oh. And he just goes, man, I don't know what you mean. I don't know what you're talking about. That's not me. And he just backs out of it and plays dumb and dodges the bullet. The night goes on. And when he went out to the entrance, he goes stand by the door. He's like, man, it's too crazy to go by the door. Another servant girl saw him, and she said to the bystander, this girl throws him under the bus, dude. This girl sees him, and she starts hanging up to the people around. She says to the crowd around Peter, this man was with Jesus of Nazareth. She's like, this guy right here, he knows that guy over there. He's one of his boys. And again, he denied it with an oath. I swear to God. I swear to God, I don't know the man. He's so scared of being found out. He started making promises. You know how we do, right? I swear to the Bible, I'm not lying. I swear to God, dude, I don't know that guy. After a little while, the bystanders, the crowd came up and said to Peter, certainly you two are one of them, for your accent betrays you. He smoked. See, Peter is a Galilean from the north. You ever hear like a Georgian accent? Like from down south? That slow, thick drawl? How y'all doing? You know, that's, if you meet someone with that, you know, you're not around here, are you? Like that gives you away. I once needed a ride from my school in Chicago to home in Waterford. And so I caught a ride with a buddy going to Canada. He dropped me off at the Ambassador Bridge. I didn't know, I had no cell phones before cell phones, because I'm old, and look, they existed, but they were like Zach Morris phones, okay? So I jumped up the Ambassador Bridge, and I was walking. Guess where I ended up? Right there in Mexican Town. You ever heard that? Mexican Town in Detroit? I'm in it, and it's dark. Mexican Town is a rough place to be. It is a rowdy part of Detroit, okay? And I'm there, and it's dark. I don't know nobody. I'm lost. But you know what? I'm Mexican. I'm tall. I'm a pretty big man. I just walk around. I put my game face, my mean UFC face on. I start walking. You know what's crazy? If I were to talk at all, everyone know. Whoa! You're not from Mexico. You're from Michigan. I have a white man's accent. Like I do. My accent would betray me that fast. And Peter had a country accent, and he's in Jerusalem, which is the cosmopolitan. It's like New York City. It's the hip place. So Peter's, even the way he talks, gives him away. Like, dude, you're one of his. He's from the north. You sound just like him in the same state hometown. I know you're with him. Your accent betrays you, man. He begins to invoke a curse on himself and to swear, I do not know the man. We already swore to God. Well, now he's going to curse. He's going to say, like, who knows what he said? He says words to prove he's not a good man. He is doing all he knows how to do to hide himself. And immediately, the rooster crowed. Most historians think this is the 3 a.m. crow. This is a crow. The Romans would switch shifts right this time. It's not morning. It's a middle of the night thing. But this rooster crows, and Peter hears it. And he remembers that like 4 hours ago, Christ told Peter, you see to love me if you put days over. You're to deny me 3 times. You're like, I will never deny you 3 times. And he remembers it. Listen. And Peter remembered the words of Jesus. Before the rooster crows, you deny me 3 times. He went out and wept bitterly. that rooster crows, and in Luke we're told, in the Gospel of Luke, we're told he looks. And him and Jesus make eye contact. The rooster crows, Peter realizes, I have failed my master. Looks, and Jesus getting spit on, beat up, slapped around. He just looks up, and they make eye contact to the whole crowd. And no one else can. He sees it, and he sees it, and there's a connection. And Peter realizes, I failed. I denied my master. And he runs out of the courtyard. And he leaves me alone. Now, I've heard this story preached many times in my life. I've heard Bible lessons done on it. And I've always heard the story told the same. It was always told to me, Ernesto, you can't be like Peter. Don't deny Jesus, right? Don't deny Jesus. Don't be a failure like Peter. So I'm reading this and I'm wondering, why does every gospel include this story? In Matthew, in Mark, in Luke, in John, every single gospel writer includes Peter's failure. Why is this so important to the story of Christ? Not only that, there's only one way everyone knows the story. There's only one way anyone knows the story. Peter must have told him. If I've done that crap, I wouldn't tell nobody. If I failed Jesus, I'm like, man, I wasn't even there. You know, I already not lied. Like, just cover it up. He must have told Mark, he must have told Matthew, he must have told Luke, he must have told John. He told his boys, dude, I blew it. And he looked at me, man, and I walked out and I wept. Why is this story of Peter included in the Gospels? As I read and read and prayed and thought, I think I finally figured it out. Everyone in the gospel story, everyone fails Jesus. Everyone. Mary, his mom, has to shut him up. All the disciples abandon him. Everybody's going to fail. And Peter, at the time, when they write this all down, Peter's already a leader of the church. They tell his story of great failure. Why? Because I want you to understand something. I want you to understand something very, very important. Peter is not the hero of the story. There's only one hero in the gospel, and that is Jesus. He's the only guy who doesn't falter and doesn't fall. Everyone else trips. Everyone else fumbles. Even people later become superheroes. Man, nobody does good in the Gospels. Everyone makes mistakes. Everybody fails. Now, this is what that does for us as followers of Christ, as disciples of Christ. As people who want to follow Jesus, what it tells us is this: all disciples are going to fail Jesus. All disciples. Every follower of Christ is going to fail Jesus. Peter loved Jesus Christ. Peter loved him. Peter, when he saw Christ, you know what he did? Peter pulled his sword out and was going to die for Jesus. He wanted to fight an army of 100 men for this man whom he loved. I'll fight for him. I'll die for him. Peter loved him. There's a story where Peter, his mother-in-law's sick. And Christ comes to his house. And Christ heals his mother-in-law. And Peter has seen Christ take care of his own family. Peter is bold. He cares. He's seen. He knows. And even though he loves Jesus so much, he still lets him down. He still fails him miserably. And here's what I want to tell you guys. So will you. I don't care how well-intentioned you are. Every one of us is going to fumble the ball. All disciples fail their master. You ever fail your wife? Fail your kids? Heck yeah, we do, right? Years ago, I remember my friend was traveling. We're preaching all over the place. And we're at our parents' house up in the tree farm. And I go into our little room we're living in. and there was a little present in a bag. You don't want to wrap it, put it in a bag instead. It's kind of lazy, but it's easier. And my name was on the bag. My name was on, and I was like, present for me. I didn't open it, I didn't know what was going on. But I saw it was a big bag, pretty sweet. So I come downstairs, I see my wife, and I'm like, hey, darling. I'm being all coy, I'm being all cute. I'm like, darling, I saw a present up in the room. She said, yeah. I'm like, I saw my name was signed. She goes, yeah. I'm like, well, what's up with that? I'm like, it's not my birthday. It's not Christmas. What's the present for? She just looks at me, she's wondering, and she just goes, today's our anniversary. And I was like, I revealed all my cards. She knew I didn't know. I was like, oh, is it August 23rd already? I just, listen, I know my anniversary. I just didn't know that day happened to be the actual day. I was traveling. Here's the point. I failed my wife. I could see it in her face. She didn't give me crap. She could have held over my head for years, couldn't she? She could have held over my head for years. She'd be like, I'm like, babe, let's go to Outback. She's like, oh no, I want to go to speak in what's the Italian place people like? Olive Garden. She's like, Olive Garden. I'm like, well, Outback, you get coupons. She's like, well, you've got an anniversary. If you want Olive Garden, she did my whole. She could have held over my head for years. But in her face, I saw the hurt, the disappointment. We fail people we love. We do. We fail our kids. We fail our kids, man. Just in the day. Just in the day, I got annoyed with the kids because they weren't even doing bad. They were just kind of getting in trouble. They were not doing anything wrong. They were just bothering me. So they weren't that's a bad person. And I was so frustrated with them playing. I just said, muttered loudly, why are you guys being so stupid? And dude, I saw their little faces wounded by that word. They were so cold. They wilted. We fail people we love. Now listen, I said I was sorry for my kids, just so you know. When each of them by themselves got down on their knee. Kids, I'm sorry I did you wrong. I apologize. That's what you do when you're wrong. Apologize. My point is we fail people we love. And we fail our God. We fail Jesus. We don't pray. We don't love people. We don't give His truth away. We don't prioritize or value His stuff. We fail Him all the time. We know what He wants and we don't listen to Him because He wants something else. We deny Him all the time. Every single one of us fails Jesus. Every one of us. Peter fails Christ, and Peter's failure teaches us that we too fail Christ. Here's the thing I want to teach you next. I want you to go a few hours before this happens. They're having dinner before he's arrested. Listen to this. I'm going to verse 30 or 26. Verse 30. When they had sung a hymn, they went to the Mount of Olives. Jesus said to them, you will all fall away because of me this night. Every one of you guys will fall away from me this night. For it is written, I will strike the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock will be scattered. But after I am raised up, I will go before you to Galilee. Because every one of you guys, you're going to leave me, you're going to abandon me, you're going to fail tonight. I'll come for you in Galilee. I'll come back and I'll find you all. Peter answered him. He tells everybody, you're all going to fail me. Peter's like, nah. Peter goes, though they all fall away because of you, I will never fall away. Peter does this kind of crazy. First, he tells Christ he's wrong. He also throws all his friends under the bus. These guys fail because they're all chumps. But I'm not going to fail you. They'll all leave you, but I'm not, because I love you more than all of them. Peter believes I'm the hero of the story. So this. Jesus said to him, verse 34, truly I tell you, this very night, before the rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times. So, Peter's like, Jesus says, you're going to fail me. Peter goes, I'm not going to fail you. Jesus goes, you're going to fail me 3 times, man. You're going to do worse than anybody else. You're going to be the worst of all of them. And Peter, instead of being corrected, he's going to double down. He says, Peter said to him, verse 35, even if I must die with you, I will not deny you. Jesus, you're wrong. I love you so much, I ain't never denying you. I'll die with you. I'll suffer with you, get beaten for you, but I ain't walking away from you. Peter's convinced he's going to make it. And here is this awful thing that we find in the Christian church. We pretend that we're not going to fail. We pretend and talk big trash that we're going to be the one who doesn't blow it. Peter, in his mind, inflated himself. And Peter came to a place where Peter thought, I am the hero of the story. Peter said, I'm going to be the one, when everyone else falls, I'll be the one guy who doesn't fall. You know what's crazy? When I was a kid, I did the same thing. When I was a young man, when I first got saved at 14 years old, I was convinced. I'll tell you how it works in your head. 14, I get saved. And I went to a youth group every week in my church when I was a kid. Like, youth group, you go there, high schoolers, you play games. And I go to youth group, and a lot of the youth group, they talk big trash youth group, go to school, and they would live like everybody else. They would say youth group, I don't drink. They would drink on the weekends at the parties I was at. And I'm like, what's going on? Everyone's lying. Everyone's two-faced. I didn't like it. It was hypocrite city all day long. So I said in my own heart, I ain't going to be like that. I'm going to be better than that. I'm going to be the one who doesn't lie. I'm going to be the one who follows all the commandments. And I thought, what happened was a subtle movement. I thought, I'm going to be the hero of the story. I'm going to be awesome. D.L. Moody once said, I went to a college called the Moody Bible Institute, which was started by Dwight Lyman Moody. And Moody, his most famous quote he ever said, he said, the world has yet to see what God can do with a man wholly committed to him. Pretty cool line, right? The world has yet to see what God can do with a man or woman wholly committed to him. When I was young, I ate that up. I thought, I'm going to be the guy. I'm going to be the one that's fully committed, and I'm going to change the world. Here's a problem with that. It was about me, right? In my big drama in my brain, I was the hero of the story because of my faithfulness, because of my giftings, because of my strength, because of my obedience. I was going to do great things for God because of my power. And I see believers like Peter get puffed up, conceited, pretend to be super Christians. And we become fakes, hypocrites, Pharisees, and we're good at it. And I had to realize I am not the hero of the story, and neither are you. You know, the hero of the story is Jesus is the hero of the story. D.L. Moody was wrong. He said the world get to see what one man wholly committed to God can accomplish. Okay? We have seen. That guy's name was Christ. Christ was wholly committed to the Father, and the world was changed through his obedience. And we are called to him. But here's the deal. I used to think to myself, I used to hear preachers say this. Preachers will say things like, God has a lot of tools in his toolbox. I just want to be his favorite one. And people would try real hard to be spiritual because they wanted God to like them more. And that little tiny twist is broken. We're missing the point. The story is not about our faithfulness or our goodness. The story is about God's goodness in Christ. That Christ was so loving and so faithful and so obedient. He brought many sons and daughters to glory. That is the gospel. The gospel is not that you're good enough. The gospel is, I guess, the gospel is this, I'm quoting. We are far worse than we'll ever admit. But we are more loved than we can possibly imagine. That's the gospel. We're all failures. My hope for my life is not my obedience and the size of this church. None of those things are what my hope is. That's not the point. I am called to be obedient. I am called to be faithful. And whatever God does with that is I'm cool with. As I follow him, I'm going to fumble the ball. I'm going to trip. I'm going to fail many of you. Straight up. And if you're here, if you think I'm cool, you're wrong. I'm just a person. The Pastor Ernesto never make mistakes, a good man. Listen, I love the Lord, gonna work in my heart. Listen, I'm gonna drop the ball. I'm gonna get to call you. I'm gonna try to talk to me. I'm gonna be thinking of something else and not pay attention to you. I'm gonna hurt your feelings. It's gonna stink and happen. Miscommunication, it's all gonna happen. Many times. It's not about me. It's not about the TV preacher, and it ain't about you either. So many of us think to ourselves, man, if I'm a little bit more faithful, God will give me more platform, and more influence, and more money, and more something, and then I'll be good. Listen, it's not about more you. It's about more him. Someone once asked me the question, Ernesto, do you love your city? I was like, yeah, I love my city. Do you want to see your city reach for Christ? Yes, I want to see your city reach for Christ. They said to me, well, Ernesto, what if there was a revival in the city of Flint and God started moving and saving just hundreds of people from the neighborhoods? But your church wasn't a part of it. Would you still be for it? Is it about you or about Jesus? And I was like, oh. What do I care about more? My kingdom, his kingdom. My work or his work. What if your work isn't, what if your work's never on TV? What if no one ever gives you a medal for anything you do? What if you faithfully go to work every day and raise your kid in silent, ever-pushing love, and no one ever says a good job? But you are faithful God gave you. You love that kid, you work hard, you provide the best like you know how. How is that not a win? How is it not beautiful and worth praise? But we're going to praise some dude on TV because he can create some kind of better deodorant, that's not our hero. He runs real fast, he's the best, who cares? Athletes, stupid. I'm just saying, how is it that you can run fast, I should listen to you about stuff. So I'm just... Here's the thing I'm saying, guys. A lot of us feel small. A lot of us feel like our lives, if I was on TV, if I was famous, if I was bigger, well, then I would matter. Then I would be useful to God. There's a guy I know in India. And he was born, he was a baby, he was born, he got a crazy virus. There's no vaccines in India. And so he got a virus that messed him up developmentally, okay? And so he survived the disease he got. But his brain just he never learned to read. He was slow in speech, and his thought process was slow. And this guy was in a village, and a few people got saved. A few people believed in Jesus, and there was no pastor. They're like, listen, you're the oldest one of us. You've got to be our pastor. He goes, I don't know nothing. I can't even read the Bible. They're like, well, you're the oldest guy here, so you're our pastor now. So he's voted in. Now, he works a job full-time. Works in the rice fields. He can't read. They have to be the pastor in the church. So he would come to our village. We teach him a Bible story. Read it to him. We memorize it. You go preach out that one text for like 3 months. Just preach it through it every week. Then come back, a new story, man. We preach that one all out. We go through it. And this guy, he couldn't read. His sermons weren't like retweeted anybody. No one in the world knows what he's doing, and nobody cares. But he's been faithful to his Lord. In that small, tiny village, far from any highway, a small church grows and loves its community. I don't care how big or small your life you think is. We're not the heroes of our stories, man. We're all going to live and die. Like my name's going to be erased from history sometime. Every one of us, we walk through this life for a season and it's over. And we have to be faithful to what God gives us in this season. And if my life is just investing in a couple kids and maybe get to preach Jesus to a few people, preach Jesus to a few more people, it's a stinking good life. If your life is just raising up a kid, loving that kid under the admonition of the Lord, amen. Maybe, I don't know. Peter is not the hero. Neither are you. Jesus is the hero of the story. Whenever we read the Bible, you ever watch movies? I watch movies. I saw Rambo on Friday, which is rated R, yo. It's rated R. I probably should have told you guys that. Listen, it's rated R because there's a lot of goats. Rambo. I watch Rambo, guess what? I watch Rambo. I identify with one of the characters. And when I watch the movie, I don't think I'm the bad guy. When I watch the movie, I don't think I'm the person who needs to be saved. I watch the movie and I'm like, I'm stinking Rambo. Like I watch the movie and I'm like, I can do all that stuff. If it's not going to Burger King, no, but you watch it, that's not the character, right? So when you read the Bible, the same thing you preach in the story. When you read the Bible, we automatically project ourselves in the story. A lot of us read the Bible and project ourselves into the shoes of Christ, and we're not Him. We're the person who needs to be healed. We're the person who's spitting on Him. We're the person who's denying Him. That's who we are in the story. And what's beautiful in the story is that even when all these people do all this against Him, He still endures all of it to bring them to His Father. So even though Peter denies Christ, guess what? Christ dies for Peter. Christ is going to go to the cross, and He's going to die. Jesus tells Peter, before it all happened, Jesus tells Peter, the devil has demanded to sift you like wheat. You know, sift you like wheat means Grim Reaper scythe. You see those cool bladed sticks? And back in the day, they would go through and just cut wheat, cut them all down. The devil's demanding to cut you down, boy. Jesus says, but when you get back up, you will lead others. He said, I'm still with you. I still love you. I still plan for you. You're going to deny me. You're going to fail me. You're going to hate yourself for a season. But listen, after it's all over, He's got a plan for you. I love you. Jesus dies for Peter. Jesus dies for failures. In Romans it says, for while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. While our hands were dirty, Christ died for us. While we stood with the mockers, Christ died for us. While we denied Him because we're cowards, Christ died for us. When I betrayed my friend in stinking middle school, Christ saw me, knew me, saw that cowardice. I have a plan for that boy. I don't. Christ died for and forgives failures. Stop putting on yourself some impossible standard. Stop pretending you're awesome, because you're not. How's that? I know we tell all these people, everyone's so awesome. Listen, we're just people. It's okay. It's okay. My daughter, I used to brag all the time about how I would have jet black, full head of hair until I died. Because my grandfather had jet black hair until he was 70, and I'm like, well, the beard had to give me some grays. Whenever they see one of them, I know my dad is a gray. I'm like, get it out! I I talk trash. My kids like, I tell my kids all the time, I'm so strong, and I'm so cool, and my hair will be black forever. And the greatest is already coming. I'm trying to realize, I tell my kids I'm not a superhero. They believe it, because I say some things, but I tell them, kids, it might fall out. It might go gray. I get tired faster than I used to. I'm just a person, just like you. So guys, why did God put the story of Peter in the Bible? So we would know everybody fails. We're going to fail. But failure is not the end of your story. Peter went out and wept bitterly. And when the Christ rose again, when the women came to anoint his body and found him gone, and they went back to tell the disciples, guys, he ain't in there. You know who the first guy was that ran back to that thing of tomb? 3 guys came back, but one dude hauled, running, sweaty, had to see for himself. You know who was the first guy in that cave? Peter. Because he needed Christ to forgive him. If he's failing, just go back to him. One last story. When I was in college, I hit a point in my life where I turned my back on God for a second. Something bad happened in my life. I remember hanging up the phone. I stood there, holding my phone on the wall. I just prayed, God, I'm mad at you. I don't want to talk to you anymore. It wasn't true. It was just very much matter of fact. Him and I didn't talk for like 2 years. But God is funny about stuff. I went to Texas, lived in a trailer on my grandma's property. Didn't have water. The power was jank. But God was just moving all around me. I worked at Church's Chicken, slinging chicken. It was an awesome job, dude. Biscuits and gravy with the white. It was a great job. Chicken is really bad for you, by the way. I made it. I'm just saying, I just take lard and put it in a thing, it would melt, and I put chicken in it, and then I eat it. That's a lot of lard, dude. And lard looks like fat, and you just cook it and eat it. But I worked there. And I'm working there, and me and God are talking. I'm not preaching, I'm not praying. I'm like, Jesus and me we broke up. That's what I thought like. And even though we broke up, in the restaurant, everyone there, God starts like saving everybody. And I'm like, Jesus, just leave me alone, man. Then after you, man, I heard about Jesus the day I read the Bible. I'm like, ah! Like it was just following me everywhere. My grandma came back to the Lord. It was nuts, dude. It was. I was like, it felt chasing me. Finally, one day, I blew my knee out. It was already hurt, but I was in this freezer and I grabbed 2 things of chicken. I go to turn, I got some ice, and slipped, the knee just cracked out of the thing. I fell down. Chicken fell out of the box. I was covered in chicken and ice. Raw chicken and ice. The ground is all wet. The ground is like wet with melted ice in the walking freezers. I'm laying there in the cold. My foot's like off to one side. I'm in a soundproof ice bin. Help! No one hears nothing. And it's morning prep, so no one there, man. I'm by myself in an ice bin, laying in chicken guts and water. Covered in ice. I'm laying there. I remember, I was like, I got it. Like, everything's gone now. I can't even work anymore. I'm laying on my back and I'm like, all right, God, let's talk. I already started crying, ready to lay on my back. And I said, I'd come back to him. I had failed him, I had away from him. I failed out of college, I had hurt my parents, I had done all this stuff. I had messed up so, I had blown my life to pieces. I failed him. And like Peter, finally, I wept bitterly and I came home. It was crazy. He was like, I'm waiting for you, boy. He was there the whole time, just waiting for him. We're all going to fail. When you do, just come home, man. He knows you're a failure. He knows you're going to blow it. He already knows, man. personality holes in your soul. Everyone's got it. They're all different. Come on. You're not the hero, and that's cool. Listen, here's awesome. I like not being the hero. Jesus is the hero. I gotta be Robin, and that's all right. So do you. That's all right. Let's go ahead and let's pray. Father in heaven, I'd ask that you would set us free this day from the horrible weight we put on ourselves. These standards of perfection that no human can bear. We don't pray enough, and we don't read enough, and we don't evangelize enough, and we don't love enough, and we don't give enough. We don't. And you see it all. Lord, let us rest fully and comfortably in your finished work. You died for failures such as us. Let us hold fast in the one hero of the story. You and you alone, Jesus. We love you. We worship you. We follow you. We want to listen to you. We want to learn from you. Continue to shape our hard hearts. In Christ's name we ask all these things.